Mr. Speaker, I enjoyed the spirited debate about getting able-bodied adults back to work. One thing I want to talk about today is a red-hot economy. I think these were the words used by our chief executive right here in this very room. Another quote, Kentucky has a booming economy and we've created more jobs than any other executive in the history of the state. With that being said, that being in mind, there are estimated 130,000 open jobs in the state of Kentucky, but for every 100 open jobs, we have 74 people looking for work. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has ranked Kentucky's worker shortage as severe. Kentucky's workforce participation is in the bottom tier of our nation at 57.4, much lower than even our neighboring states of Virginia, Ohio, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois, and Tennessee. Every time I speak to my business community back home, they tell me they cannot find workers who want to work. The people in 4th District elected me to find ways to get people back to work. While it's necessarily not the most important or most glamorous thing to dig into, one of the obvious hindrances to getting people back in the workforce is the expansion of government benefits. You see, our state government uses loopholes that hinder our economy and the very people that it serves. Two of the most abused loopholes in the Kentucky's federal mandates are addressed by House Bill 367. One of these loopholes is called the Broad-Based Categorical Eligibility, or BBCE. This waiver allows people with substantial assets to qualify for food stamps. For example, you could have thousands of dollars, even up to $1 million, in the bank and still qualify for a monthly check. This loophole also raises the income limits to 200% of the poverty level. That's not including the thousands of dollars in exemptions that's associated with that. And it also removes the federal asset test. It was instituted as a safeguard and accountability check to make sure that taxpayer money was used to help people in need, not those with assets they could use to provide for themselves. Under the current policy, someone with a second home, new boat, or an expensive RV could still qualify for SNAP. Here's how it works. The cabinet sends SNAP applicant, someone who normally wouldn't even be eligible, a brochure or a pamphlet from a separate government program paid for by that separate benefit program. Because the applicant simply received the brochure, the applicant is now deemed eligible under BBCE. It's essentially fraud by design, Mr. Speaker. Second loophole in this bill addresses the work requirements for able-bodied adults without children. This waiver allows adults who should and would be working to draw food stamps while disregarding the requirements to work, train, or go to school, or even volunteer. People of the 4th District do not think it's too much to ask a person to work, train, go to school, or volunteer to receive a government benefit. Now that I have discussed what the bill does, let's talk about what the bill does not do. We've heard a lot of hyperbole on the email lately. The bill does not jeopardize the 500,000 plus SNAP participants. Saying so is only a means of gaslighting. This bill does not affect school lunches. 99.9% of every child who is eligible for the National School Lunch Program will still be eligible if this bill took place. This bill does not exaggerate the benefits cliff. The benefits cliff has been addressed in the SNAP benefits themselves as it staggers down as a person makes more money. These waivers have actually just made it too lucrative to stay on government benefits and keeps people from getting back in the workforce. Other states have closed these loopholes. Florida, Missouri, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Mississippi all prohibit food stamps by waivers by statute. In closing the BBCE loophole, Kentucky would follow the lead of Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, South Dakota, Wyoming, Utah, and Alaska. It's also a reform that Kentuckians support. A recent poll by the Center for Excellence in Polling found that 80% of likely voters in the Commonwealth support checking food stamp applicants' financial assets to ensure they're truly eligible. Dependency, waste, and fraud, abuse, siphoning resources from the truly needy, there's no reason to allow these to continue. The pandemic is behind us, and it's time for a thoughtful solution on how we get more workers back into the workforce. It's not compassionate to simply keep somebody as a servant to the government.